None. I am already far north of London, and as I walk in the streets of Petersburg, I feel a cold northern breeze play upon my cheeks, which braces my nerves and
None. Me with delight. None. Do you understand this feeling? This breeze, which has travelled from the regions towards which I am advancing, gives me a foretaste of those icy climes.
None. I may there discover the wondrous power which attracts the needle, and may regulate 1,000 celestial observations that require only this voyage, to render their seeming eccentricities consistent forever.
None. I have read with ardour the accounts of the various voyages which have been made in the prospect of arriving at the North Pacific Ocean through the seas which surround the pole.
None! These visions faded when I perused for the first time those poets whose effusions entranced my soul and lifted it to heaven.
None. I also became a poet, and for 1 year lived in a paradise of my own creation. I imagined that I also might obtain a niche in the temple where the name
None of Homer and Shakespeare are consecrated.
none.
But just at that time I inherited the fortune of my cousin, and my thoughts were turned into the channel of their earlier.
None. 6 years have passed since I resolved on my present undertaking.
None.
I have no friend.
None. When I am glowing with the enthusiasm of success, there will be none to participate my joy. If I am assailed by disappointment, no one will endeavor to sustain me in dejection.
None.
I am too ardent in execution and too impatient of difficulties. But it is a still greater evil to me that books of...
None. Well, these are useless complaints. I shall certainly find no friend on the wide ocean, nor even here in Archangel, among merchants and sea.
None. I have found a man of courage and enterprise, a man who is not only brave but also kind, and who has suffered for love and duty.
None.
He has given everything for love, for a woman's tears, and for the happiness of another. He has not been educated, but he has the heart of a Nobel.
Yes. None.
I will not waver in my resolve. My voyage is only delayed by the weather, and when the time is right, I shall embark. I shall not be rash.
Walton writes to his sister, expressing the strange mix of fear and excitement he feels as he prepares to embark on his journey.
Ancient mariner, I am going to unexplored regions, to the land of mist and snow, but I shall kill no albatross, therefore do not be alarmed for my safety.
Elizabeth writes back to Walton, expressing her love you very tenderly. Remember me with affection, should you never hear from...
None. We are not so far from land as we thought. None.
He must be very desperate to seek our aid.
None. Before I come on board your vessel, will you have the kindness to inform me whither you are bound?
None. He is barely alive, Margaret. His limbs are nearly frozen. We must not let him suffer more.
None.
Why did you come so far upon the ice in such a strange vehicle?
None. To seek one who fled from me.
None. I have promised that someone should watch for him and give him instant notice if any new object should appear in sight.
None. The stranger has gradually improved in health, but is very silent and appears uneasy when anyone except myself enters his cabin.
None. He is so gentle, yet so wise. His mind is so cultivated, and when he speaks, although his words are culled with the choicest art, yet they flow with rapidity and unparalleled eloquence.
None. I spoke of my desire of finding a friend, of my thirst for a more intimate sympathy with a fellow mind than had ever fallen to my lot, and expressed my
None. That a man could boast of little happiness who did not enjoy this blessing.
None.
I once had a friend, the most noble of human creatures, and am entitled, therefore, to judge respecting friendship.
None. I do not know that the relation of my disasters will be useful to you, yet, when I reflect that you are pursuing the same course, exposing yourself to the same dangers,
none which have rendered me what I am, I imagine that you may deduce an apt moral from my tale, one that may direct you if you succeed in your undertaking, and none. You in case of
None. Were we among the tamer scenes of nature, I might fear to encounter your unbelief, perhaps your ridicule. But many things will appear possible in these wild and mysterious regions which would
None. Provoke the laughter of those unacquainted with the ever-varied powers of nature. Nor can I doubt but that my tale conveys in its series internal evidence of the truth of the event.
None of which it is composed.
None.
You may easily imagine that I was much gratified by the offered communication, yet I could not endure that he should renew his grief by a recital of his misfortunes.
None?
I felt the greatest eagerness to hear the promised narrative, partly from curiosity, and partly from a strong desire to ameliorate his fate if it were in my power.
None? I express these feelings in my answer. I thank you, he replied, for your sympathy, but it is useless. My fate is nearly fulfilled.
None. I wait but for one event, and then I shall repose in peace.
Victor had hoped to find Bowfruit in a state of renewed hope, but what he found was a man on the brink of ruin.
I have sought him out, as I promised myself I would. But what I find is not a friend, but a man consumed by grief and despair.
The creature, though suffering, possessed a strange detachment from his own pain, a result of his isolation.
You are not the onlyness of whose existence. You are not the...
Victor's compassion for the Beaufort family became a cornerstone of his character, shaping his love for Elizabeth and his eventual fate.
She will not be left to suffer as I have seen others suffer. She is not alone.
The beauty of the child struck Elizabeth with an almost spiritual awe.
This child is unlike the others. Her eyes, they are so full of life and innocence. You are so beautiful and so full of promise. Tell me...
The truth of the child's origins revealed the depths of her suffering.
She is not her child, but the daughter of a Milanese nobleman. Her mother was a German and had died on giving her birth.
She is a blessing from above, a light in the darkness. None. She is like a vision from the heavens, a creature of light and grace.
You are mine to protect, to love, and to cherish.
Victor's childhood was filled with the beauty of nature, yet his mind was drawn to its secrets.
It's a joy to live here, Victor. The air is so pure, and the world seems so vast and full of wonder.
Henry's dreams of adventure and heroism shaped his youthful spirit, in contrast to Victor's obsession with the mysteries of nature.
Heirs of chivalry. We are to be the knights of this age, not bound by the chains of kings, but by the sword of justice and the heart of honor.
Elizabeth's presence was the anchor that kept Victor from descending into the abyss of his own desires. Without her, I might have become a wretch driven by my passions alone, without the softness of love to temper them.
None. I opened it with apathy, the theory which he attempts to demonstrate, and the wonderful facts which he relates soon changed this feeling into enthusiasm.
None. My father looked carelessly at the title page of my book and said, "Ah, Cornelius Agrippa! My dear Victor, do not waste your time on this. It is sad trash."
None.
I have described myself as always having been imbued with a fervent longing to penetrate the secrets of nature.
None. I remained, while the storm lasted, watching its progress with curiosity and delight. I never beheld anything so utterly destroyed.
None. All that he said threw greatly into the shade Cornelius Agrippa, Albertus Magnus, and Paracelsus, the lords of my imagination. But by some fatality, the overthrow of these men disinclined me.
None. Pursue my accustomed studies.
Victor's mind has turned from the pursuit of knowledge to the study of mathematics, a refuge from the horrors of his past.
I had once been the most devoted of scholars, but now I see the folly of my pursuits.
I cast aside my former studies as if they were the remnants of a dream.
Elizabeth's voice carries a mixture of hope and despair.
Victor, you must not abandon your studies. There is still hope, still a way to atone for what has been done.
Victor's fate is sealed, and the shadow of his creation looms ever closer.
No, Elizabeth. It is too late. I have been damned by my own hands. My soul is bound to ruin, and no power on earth can.
I was new to sorrow, but it did not the less alarm me.
None.
I shall not leave you to the bitter solitude of sorrow. I will be your comforter, your solace. None.
I shall not be able to accompany you, but know that I will never forget the lessons of this journey. I will pursue knowledge with the same fervor.
Victor, once surrounded by love and companionship, now finds himself alone on his journey to Ingolstadt.
I threw myself into the chaise that was to convey me away and indulged in the most melancholy...
Live. Victor's heart aches at the thought of leaving his family and friends behind. My life had hitherto been remarkably secluded and domestic, and this had given me invincible repugnance to new countenances.
Victor's past studies, once a source of pride, do not in studying...
None. The ancient teachers of this science promised impossibilities and performed nothing. The modern masters promise very little. They know that metals cannot be transmuted and that the elixir of life is a chimera.
None. They have acquired new and almost unlimited powers. They can command the thunders of heaven, mimic the earthquake, and even mock the invisible world with its own shadows.
Victor is captivated by the professor's words, his mind racing with the possibilities of discovery.
I have heard of such men, but never before have I seen the results of their labor. I have read their works, but never have I witnessed the triumph of their genius.
Victor feels a growing admiration for M. Waldman, who speaks with warmth and sincerity.
These were men to whose indefatigable zeal modern philosophers were indebted for most of the foundations of their knowledge.
Victor is inspired by the professor's words, feeling a sense of purpose for the modern chemistry. They will aid you in your studies, and with them, you may unlock the secret...
The library is silent.
You are right, Elizabeth. Science is not merely a collection of facts, but a journey into the unknown. You are making remarkable progress, my boy. I am truly proud of you.
Victor's passion for science has transformed him. Science is not merely a pursuit of knowledge, but of understanding the very essence of life itself.
Unless I had been animated by an almost supernatural enthusiasm, my application to this study would have been irksome and almost intolerable.
None. To examine the causes of life, we must first have recourse to death.
None. After days and nights of incredible labor and fatigue, I succeeded in discovering the cause of generation and life. Nay more, I became myself capable of bestowing animation upon lifeless matter.
None. I see by your eagerness, and the wonder and hope which your eyes express, my friend, that you expect to be informed of the secret with which I am acquainted. That none. Listen patiently until the end of my story, and you will easily perceive why I am reserved upon that subject. None? I will not lead you on, unguarded and ardent as I then was, to your destruction and infallible misery.
None. Learn from me, if not by my precepts, at least by my example, how dangerous is the acquirement.
None. No one can conceive the variety of feelings which bore me onwards like a hurricane in the first enthusiasm of success.
None. Life and death appeared to me ideal bounds, which I should first break through and pour a torrent of light into our dark world.
None. I pursued nature to her hiding places. I dabbled among the unhallowed damps of the grave, and tortured the living animal to animate the lifeless clay.
None. My limbs now tremble, and my eyes swim with the remembrance. But then a resistless and almost frantic impulse urged me forward.
None. I wished, as it were, to procrastinate all that related to my feelings of affection, until the great object, which swallowed up every habit of my nature, should be complete.
None. I had worked hard for nearly 2 years for the sole purpose of infusing life into an inanimate body.
None.
Victor, what is this? What have you done?
None. I had desired it with an ardor that far exceeded moderation. But now that I had finished, the beauty of the dream vanished, and breathless horror and disgust filled my heart.
Optional. I had worked hard for nearly 2 years for the sole purpose of infusing life into an inanimate body. Optional. I saw Elizabeth, in the bloom of health, walking in the streets of Ingolstadt.
Optional. I had gazed on him while unfinished. He was ugly then, but when those muscles and joints were rendered capable of motion, it became a thing such as even Dante could not have conceived.
Victor is haunted by the creature, walking the streets of Ingolstadt in the rain.
My heart palpitated in the sickness of fear and unable to find peace, and I hurried on with irregular steps, not daring to look up.
Henry's arrival brings a moment of relief and joy to Victor.
My dear Frankenstein, how glad I am to see you. How fortunate that you should be here at the very moment of my alight.
Victor's fear of the creature lingers.
My dear Frankenstein, I did not before remark how very ill came a moment of calm. So thin and pale. You look as if you had been watching for several nights.
None. I threw the door forcibly open, as children are accustomed to do when they expect a spectre to stand in waiting for them on the other side. But nothing appeared.
None. I could hardly believe that so great a good fortune could have befallen me, but when I became assured that my enemy had indeed fled, I clapped my hands for joy and...
None! Ran down to Clerval. None!
My dear Victor, what for God's sake is the matter? Do not laugh in that manner. How ill you are! What is the cause?
None.
Dearest Clerval, how kind, how very good you are to me. This whole winter, instead of being spent in study as you promised yourself, has been consumed in my sick room.
None. How shall I ever repay you?
None.
Compose yourself. I will not mention it if it agitates you, but your father and cousin would be very happy if they received a letter from you in your own handwriting.
None. They hardly know how ill you have been and are uneasy at your long silence.
None. Is that all, my dear Henry? How could you suppose that my first thought would not fly towards those dear, dear friends whom I love, and who are so deserving of my love?
None.
I have been thinking of you constantly, Victor. Your father's health is indeed vigorous, and he longs to see you return.
None. Ernest has grown into a fine young man, full of spirit and energy. I fear he will not remain idle for long.
None. Justine was a great favorite of yours, was she not? She had the gift of making even the most troubled hearts feel at ease. Her eyes held such warmth and kindness.
None.
She was truly a remarkable young woman.
None.
Justine was the most grateful creature in the world. She never spoke of her gratitude, but you could see it in her eyes.
None. She looked upon my aunt as a model of all excellence, and she sought to imitate her in every way. Her kindness and devotion were truly beyond measure.
None.
One by one, her brothers and sister died, and her mother, with the exception of her neglected daughter, was left childless.
None. She was a Roman Catholic, and I believe her confessor confirmed the idea which she had conceived.
None. Poor girl. She wept when she quitted our house. She was much altered since the death of my aunt.
None. I have no desire to pursue these sciences any longer. The sight of these instruments haunts me.
Your progress in natural philosophy is astonishing. You have surpassed us!
None. Darn the fellow! Y.M. Clavel, I assure you, he has outstripped us all.
I felt this delay very bitterly, for I longed to see my native town and my beloved friend.
None.
I proposed a pedestrian tour in the environs of Ingolstadt, that you might bid a personal farewell to the country you had so long inhabited.
We passed a fortnight in these perambulations. My health and spirits had long been restored, and they gained additional strength from the salubrious air I breathed, the natural incidents of our progress.
None? And the conversation of my friend.
Optional.
Henry, you are the very soul of mirth. I have not felt this way in months.
Victor, I have read 1,000 tales of the East, and I can rival the finest poets of Persia. The stories of love and vengeance are as vivid as the stars above us.
Optional. William is dead. That sweet child whose smiles delighted and warmed my heart, who was so gentle, yet so gay.
None.
She told me that same evening, William had teased her to let him wear a very valuable miniature that she possessed of your mother.
None. This picture is gone, and was doubtless the temptation which urged the murderer to the deed.
None. My dear Frankenstein, are you always to be unhappy? My dear friend, what has happened?
None. I can offer you no consolation, my friend. Your disaster is irreparable. What do you intend to...
None. Dear mountains, my own beautiful lake, how do you welcome your wanderer? Your summits are clear. The sky and lake are blue and
None. Is this to prognosticate peace, or to mock at my
None.
Yet, as I drew nearer home, grief and fear again overcame me. Night also closed around, and when I could hardly see the dark mountains, I felt still more gloomy.
The storm, as is often the case in Switzerland, appeared at once in various parts of the heavens.
None.
William, dear angel! This is thy funeral! This thy dirge!
None. What did he there? Could he be the murderer of my...
None. He was the murderer. I could not doubt.
None. I remembered also the nervous fever with which I had been seized just at the time that I dated my creation, and which would give an air of delirium to it.
None. Otherwise so utterly improbable. None. Welcome, my dearest Victor. I wish you had come 3 months ago, and then you would have found us all joyous and delighted.
None.
You come to us now to share a misery which nothing can alleviate. Yet your presence will, I hope, revive our father who seems sinking under his misfortune. And your persuasion...
None. Induce poor Elizabeth to cease her vain and tormenting self-accusations.
Poor William!
None. He was our darling and our pride.
None. She most of all requires consolation. She accused herself of having caused the death of my brother, and that made her very wretched. But since the murderer has been...
None. You are all mistaken. I know the murderer. Justine, poor, good Justine, is...
None. We do also, unfortunately, for indeed I had rather have been forever ignorant than have discovered so much depravity and ungratitude in one I valued so highly.
None.
Your arrival, my dear cousin, fills me with hope. You perhaps will find some means to justify my poor guiltless Justine.
None.
She is innocent, my Elizabeth, and that shall be proved. Fear nothing, but let your spirits be cheered by the assurance of her acquittal.
None. How kind and generous you are. Everyone else believes in her guilt, and that made me wretched.
None. And to see everyone else prejudiced in so deadly a manner rendered me hopeless and despairing.
None.
Dearest niece, dry your tears. If she is, as you believe, innocent, rely on the justice of our laws and the activity with which I shall prevent the slightest shadow of partiality.
The court is silent, the weight of the accusations pressing down on Justine.
God knows how entirely I am innocent.
The court is stunned, the picture confirming Justine's guilt.
It was the same which an hour before the child had been missed, I had placed round his neck.
Justine's voice shakes with fear and desperation, her plea falling on deaf ears.
I believe that I have no enemy on earth, and none surely would have been so wicked as to destroy me wantonly.
None.
I am the cousin of the unhappy child who was murdered, or rather his sister. For I was educated by and have lived with his parents ever since, and even long before his birth.
None.
She had no temptation for such an action. As to the bauble on which the chief proof rests, if she had earnestly desired it, I should have willingly given it to her. None, so much do I esteem and value her.
None. I believed in her innocence. I knew. None! Could the demon I did not for a minute doubt, murdered my brother, also in his hellish sport, have betrayed the innocent to death and ignominy?
Victor is stunned by the news. The person to whom I addressed myself added that Justine had already confessed her guilt.
Elizabeth's heart is broken by the news.
My cousin, it is decided as you may have expected. All judges had rather that 10 innocent should suffer than that one guilty should escape. But she has confessed.
Justine is overwhelmed with guilt and fear.
I did confess, but I confessed a lie. I confessed that I might obtain absolution, but now that falsehood lies heavier at my heart than all my other sins. None. I thought with horror, my sweet lady, that you should believe your Justine, whom your blessed aunt had so highly honored, and whom you loved, was a creature capable of a crime, which none but the devil himself could have perpetrated. None. Oh, Justine, forgive me for having for one moment distrusted you. Why did you confess? But do not mourn, dear girl. Do not fear. I will proclaim, I will prove your innocence.
None. I do not fear to die, that pang is past. God raises my weakness and gives me courage to endure the worst.
None. Farewell, sweet lady, dearest Elizabeth, my beloved and only friend. May heaven, in its bounty, bless and preserve you. May this be the last misfortune that you will ever suffer. None. Live and be happy, and make others so. None.
I wish, cried she, that I were to die with you. I cannot live in this world of misery.
None. She perished on the scaffold as a murderess.
Victor's father had tried to console him, but his words only deepened Victor's torment.
I am not the same man who once stood here with hope in my heart.
The solitude of the lake only intensified his guilt and fear.
I have seen the reflection of my own soul in the water, and it is a monster.
Victor's hatred for the creature had reached a fever pitch, and his mind was consumed by vengeance.
I will not rest until the world is free from his wickedness.
None. When I reflect, my dear cousin, on the miserable death of Justine Moritz, I no longer see the world and its works as they before appeared to me.
None. Before, I looked upon the accounts of vice and injustice that I read in books or heard from others as tales of ancient days or imaginary evils. At least they were remote. None, and more familiar to reason than to the imagination. But now misery has come home, and men appear to me as monsters thirsting for each other's blood.
None. But she was innocent. I know. I feel she was innocent. You are of the same opinion, and that confirms me.
None? Victor, when falsehood can look so like the truth, who can assure themselves of certain happiness?
None. And could not such words from her whom I fondly prized before every other gift of fortune suffice to chase away the fiend that lurked in my heart?
None.
Even as she spoke, I drew near to her, as if in terror, lest at that very moment the destroyer had been near to rob me of her.
None. I was a wreck, but naught had changed in those savage and enduring scenes.
None. The very winds whispered in soothing accents, and maternal nature bade me weep no more.
None. Then again the kindly influence ceased to act.
I found myself fettered again to grief and indulging in all the misery of reflection.
I remembered the effect that the view of the tremendous and ever-moving glacier had produced upon my mind when I first saw it.
None. It had then filled me with a sublime ecstasy that gave wings to the soul and allowed it to soar from the obscure world to light and joy.
None. The sight of the awful and majestic in nature had indeed always the effect of solemnizing my mind and causing me to forget the passing cares of life.
None.
The ascent is precipitous, but the path is cut into continual and short windings, which enable you to surmount the perpendicularity of the mountain.
None. My heart, which was before sorrowful, now swelled with something like joy. I exclaimed, "Wandering spirits, if indeed ye wander, and do not rest in your narrow beds, allow me this
None. Happiness, or take me, as your companion, away from the joys of—
None. Devil! Do you dare approach me? And do not you fear the fierce vengeance of my arm wreaked on your miserable head?
None! I expected this reception. All men hate the wretched. How then must I be hated, who am miserable beyond all living things? None!
Remember, thou hast made me more powerful than the self. My height is superior to 9, my joints more supple. But I will not be tempted to set myself in opposition to thee.
None. I was benevolent and good. Misery made me a fiend. Make me happy, and I shall again be virtuous.
Begone! I will not hear you. There can be no community between you and me. We are enemies. Begone! Or let us try our strength in a fight, in which one must fall!
None.
How can I move thee? Will no entreaties cause thee to turn a favorable eye upon thy creature, who implores thy goodness and compassion?
None. On you it rests, whether I quit forever the neighborhood of man and lead a harmless life, or become the scourge of your fellow creatures, and the author of your own speedy ruin.
None. As he said this, he led the way across the ice. I followed.
None.
It is with considerable difficulty that I remember the original era of my being. All the events of that period appear confused and indistinct.
None. I was a poor, helpless, miserable wretch. I knew, and could distinguish nothing. But feeling pain invade me on all sides. I sat down and wept.
None. Soon a gentle light stole over the heavens and gave me a sensation of pleasure. I started up and beheld a radiant form rise from among the trees.
The moon. I gazed with a kind of wonder.
None. Fire. It gives light and heat. A gift from the heavens. None. This is a place of warmth and sustenance. I shall return to the warmth of this place.
The creature, bruised and battered, takes refuge in a low hovel, seeking shelter from both the elements. A young girl brings milk to her mother, unaware of the hidden presence watching her.
I have brought the milk, Mother.
I am not the monster they think I am.
The girl's words are soft and sincere, echoing the grief she has carried.
I'm sorry, sir, for my sorrow.
Their bond grows stronger with each passing moment.
You have been kind to me, and I am grateful.
The contrast between the two is striking, yet their kindness unites them. You are both kind, and your presence brings—
None. I watched them with the keenest attention, seeking to understand their joys and sorrows. None.
We must be careful with the fire, Margaret. It is cold, and we need warmth.
None.
Let the music soothe your heart, my son. There is no need for—
None. I had been accustomed during the night to steal a part of their store for my own consumption, but when I found that in doing this I inflicted pain on the cottagers—
None. I abstained and satisfied myself with berries, nuts, and roots, which I gathered from a neighboring wood. None. I discovered also another means through which I was enabled to assist their labors.
None. I found that the youth spent a great part of each day in collecting wood for the family fire, and during the night I often took his tools, the use of...
None. I quickly discovered and brought home firing sufficient for the consumption of several days.
What is there?
None. I could mention innumerable instances, which, although slight, marked the dispositions of these amiable cottagers.
None. In the midst of poverty and want, Felix carried with pleasure to his sister the first little white flower that peeped out from beneath the snowy ground.
None. As the sun became warmer and the light of day longer, the snow vanished, and I beheld the bare trees and the black earth.
The creature's life in the cottage has brought him comfort, but he remains a stranger in a world that does not understand him.
You are welcome here. We have much to learn from one another.
The creature, though unable to understand the full meaning of the words, feels a connection to the world around.
The cottage is a place of solace, but today it holds a new light.
What has brought you here, my beloved?
The presence of the stranger brings a new light to the cottage, dispelling the sorrow that has lingered.
Welcome, my child. You have come at last.
In this moment, the cottage becomes a place of learning and connection.
Good night, sweet.
The music draws the creature in, filling him with a strange sense of longing, the voice of my heart. The creature is captivated by the music, his heart stirred by its beauty.
Why do you play so? What is it that makes...
The creature listens, absorbing the stories, his mind expanding rose and fell, of men who were both great and...
None. I was more agile than they, and could subsist upon coarser diet. I bore the extremes of heat and cold with less injury to my frame. My stature far exceeded none.
I cannot describe to you the agony that these reflections inflicted upon me. I tried to dispel them, but sorrow only increased with knowledge.
None.
Miserable, unhappy...
None. I heard of the difference of sexes, and the birth and growth of children, how the father doted on the smiles of the infant, and the lively sallies of the older child.
None. How all the life and cares of the mother were wrapped up in the precious charge. None.
How the mind of youth expanded and gained knowledge of brother, sister, and all the various relationships which bind one human being to another in mutual bond.
None. But where were my friends and relations?
None. No father had watched my infant days. No mother had blessed me with smiles and caresses. Or if they had, all my past life was now a blot, a blind vacant...
None.
Which I distinguish nothing.
None. I will not be bought with promises of wealth, but I will not turn away from the sight of this man's suffering.
None.
My mother taught me to dream of a life beyond the harem, and I have never forgotten her lessons.
None. We are close. The Turk is safe, and soon we will be free.
The Turk, though outwardly supportive of the lovers, harbored his own ambitions.
You shall be united to your deliverer, but not yet. My plans are greater than your...
Felix's love for Safi had driven him to sacrifice everything, but the Turk's treachery had left him broken.
I have betrayed my own happiness to save yours, but the Turk has turned against us, and now I am nothing.
Felix's ruin had shattered Safi's dreams, and the Arabian, once her lover, now stood as a silent witness to their sorrow.
Felix, he no one looks to me for love.
None.
I will not leave him. I will not abandon my lover.
None.
He is waiting for me. I will find him.
These books, they are the key to understanding the world.
Optional. They produced in me an infinity of new images and feelings that sometimes raised me to ecstasy, but more frequently sunk me into the lowest dejection.
Optional. I found myself similar, yet at the same time strangely unlike to the beings concerning whom I read, and to whose conversation I was a listener.
Optional. It moved every feeling of wonder and awe that the picture of an omnipotent God warring with his creatures was capable of exciting.
Optional. I often referred the several situations, as their similarity struck me, to my own.
Optional.
Like Adam, I was apparently united by no link to any other being in existence, but his state was far different from mine in every other respect.
Hateful day when I received life, I exclaimed in agony. Accursed creator! Why did you form a monster so hideous that even you turn from me in disgust?
None. I saw with surprise and grief the leaves decay and fall, and nature again assume the barren and bleak appearance it had worn when I first beheld the woods and the lovely moon.
None. Yet I did not heed the bleakness of the weather. I was better fitted by my conformation for the endurance of cold than heat.
None. The winter advanced, and an entire revolution of the seasons had taken place since I awoke into life. The creature has waited for this moment, and now his fate rests on the words he is about to speak.
My heart beat quick. This was the hour and moment of trial which would decide my hopes or realize my—
Lacey, though blind, senses something unusual about the stranger.
By your language, stranger, I suppose you are my countryman. Are you French?
The creature reveals his loneliness, hoping to move de Lacey to pity.
I am an unfortunate and deserted creature. I look around, and I have no relation or friend upon earth.
The old man is stunned by the creature's appearance.
Great God, who are you?
The creature is overcome with emotion and refrains from attacking Felix.
I could have torn him limb from limb, as the lion rends the antelope. But my heart sank within me as with bitter sickness, and I refrained.
The creature is left alone in the woods, tormented by his own existence.
The creature is left alone in the woods, tormented by his own existence. The cold stars shone in mockery, and the bare trees waved their branches above me. Now and then, the sweet voice of a bird burst forth amidst the universal stillness.
None. All, save I, were at rest or in enjoyment. I, like the arch-fiend, bore a hell within.
None. But this was a luxury of sensation that could not endure. I became fatigued with excess of bodily exertion and sank on the damp grass in the sick impotence of despair.
None. I had certainly acted imprudently. It was apparent that my conversation had interested the father in my behalf, and I was a fool in having exposed my person to the horror of his children.
None. I do not wish to take any unfair advantage, and I beg therefore that you will take some days to consider of your determination.
None. When I thought of my friends, of the mild voice of de Lacey, the gentle eyes of Agatha, and the exquisite beauty of the Arabian, these thoughts vanished and a gut—
And tears somewhat soothed me. None. I lighted the dry branch of a tree and danced with fury around the devoted cottage, my eyes still fixed on the western horizon, the edge of which the moon nearly touched. None. I knew that I must travel in a southwesterly direction to reach my destination, but the sun was my only guide.
None. My travels were long, and the sufferings I endured intense. It was late in autumn when I quitted the district where I had so long resided.
None.
I am running from Felix. He is chasing me.
None. What is this? Why'd you take her from me? None. What have I done? What have I done? None. Come, little one. Let us be friends.
None. Child, what is the meaning of this? I do not intend to hurt you. Listen to me. None.
Let me go, or I will tell my papa.
None. I too can create desolation. My enemy is not invulnerable. This death will carry despair to him, and 1,000 other miseries shall torment and destroy him.
The creature's plea echoes through the silence, a desperate cry for companionship.
The creature's plea echoes through the silence, a desperate cry for companionship. Man will not associate with me, but one as deformed and horrible as myself would not deny herself to me.
Creature's plea echoes through the silence, a desperate cry for companionship.
And have the same defects.
This being you must create. Victor's voice shakes with fury, his soul torn between his conscience and his fear of the creature.
You refuse it, and no torture shall ever extort a consent.
Victor's voice shakes with fury,
his soul torn between his conscience and his fear of the creature, but you shall never make me base in my own eyes.
Victor's voice shakes with fury, his soul torn between his conscience and his fear of the creature, whose joint wickedness might desolate the world. Begone! I have answered you. You may torture me, but I will never—
The creature's words are a storm, a tempest of anger and sorrow. You are in the wrong, and instead of threatening, I am content to reason with you. I am malicious, because I am miserable. Am I not shunned and hated by all mankind?
The creature's words are a storm, a tempest. Tear me to pieces of anger and triumph. Remember that, and tell me why I should pity man more than he pity.
The creature's words are a storm, a tempest of anger and sorrow.
You would not call it murder if you could precipitate me into one of those ice rifts and destroy my frame, the work of your own hands.
The creature's words are a storm, a tempest of anger and sorrow.
Man when he condemns. The creature's words are a storm, a tempest of anger and sorrow. Let him live with me in the interchange of kindness, and instead of injury, I would bestow every benefit upon him with tears of gratitude at his acceptance.
The creature's words are a storm, a tempest of anger and sorrow. That cannot be! The human senses are insurmountable barriers to our union. Yet mine shall not be the submission of abject slave.
The creature's words are a storm, a tempest of anger and sorrow. I will revenge my injuries. If I cannot inspire love, I will cause fear, and chiefly towards you, my archenemy, because my creator do I swear inextinguishably hatred.
The creature's words are a storm, a tempest of anger and sorrow. Have a care. I will work at your destruction, nor finish until I desolate your heart, so that you shall curse the hour of your birth.
The creature pleads for companionship, offering a vision of peace.
What I ask of you is reasonable and moderate. I demand a creature of another sex, but as hideous as myself. The gratification is small, but it is all that—
The creature pleads for companionship, offering a vision of peaceful existence.
Receive, and it shall content me.
You propose to fly from the habitations of man, to dwell in those wilds where the beasts of the field will be your only companion.
Victor resists, fearing the consequences of granting the creature's request.
How can you, who long for the love and sympathy of man, persevere in—
The creature pleads for his right to live with dignity.
I swear to you by the earth which I inhabit, and by you that made me, that with the companion you bestow, I will quit the neighborhood of man and dwell—
The creature pleads for his right to live with dignity.
It may chance in the most savage of places. My evil passions will have fled, for I shall meet with—
None.
You swear to be harmless, but have you not already shown a degree of malice that should reasonably make me distrust you?
None.
I must not be trifled with, and I demand an answer.
None. I consent to your demand on your solemn oath to quit Europe forever.
The weight of his sorrow presses down on him like the very mountains.
The weight of his sorrow presses down on him like the very mountains around him.
Stars and clouds and winds, ye are all about to mock me. If you really pity me, crush sensation and memory, let me become as naught. But if not, depart.
The weight of his sorrow presses down on him like the very mountains around him.
Leave me in darkness.
The journey back to Geneva is marked by a silence that speaks louder than
Morning
words.
dawn before I arrived at the village of Chamonix, I took no rest, but returned immediately to Geneva.
The weight of his past actions haunts him, but the promise of redemption
Found
lingers
I could
his
not
mind.
compose a female without again devoting several months to profound study and laborious discipline.
None.
I am happy to remark, my dear son, that you have resumed your former pleasures and seem to be returning to yourself.
None. I love my cousin tenderly and sincerely. I never saw any woman who excited as Elizabeth does my warmest admiration and affection.
None. I must perform my engagement and let the monster depart with his mate, before I allowed myself to enjoy the delight of a union from which I expected peace.
Victor decides to leave for England to complete his work, fearing the consequences from all I loved while thus employed.
Elizabeth is worried about Victor's mental state, sensing the weight of his—
Victor is haunted by the idea that his creation might follow him, threatening his loved ones.
But he had promised to follow me wherever I might go, and would he not accompany me to—
None! This is what it is to live! Now I enjoy existence! But you, my dear Frankenstein, wherefore are you desponding and sorrowful? None. This part of the Rhine indeed presents a singularly variegated landscape.
None.
I am haunted by a curse that shut up every avenue to enjoyment.
None. I have seen the most beautiful scenes of my own country. I have visited the lakes of Lucerne and
None. This country, Victor, pleases me more than all those wonders.
On. Claval, beloved friend. Even now it delights me to record your work.
None. You see how the land rolls out before us, Victor. It is a vast and beautiful expanse, and I feel as if I could walk forever and never tire. None.
I only visited these people for the sake of the information they might give me on the subject in which my interest was so terribly profound.
None. Look at those buildings, Victor. The Tower, St. Paul's. It is a city of history and None. I have been a fool to think that solitude would ease the torment. Every tree, every stream, every whisper of the wind calls to me with the memory of my creation.
None. You look as though you are chasing a ghost, Victor. What?
None. I am Frankenstein's formed for peaceful happiness, yet I am consumed by the darkness of my own making. Can I ever find peace, or is this torment eternal?
None. I am a blasted tree. The bolt has entered my soul, and I felt then that I should survive to exhibit what I shall soon cease to be, a miserable spectacle of
None. Humanity, pitiable to others and intolerable to myself.
The latter name made me tremble when pronounced by Henry, and I hastened to quit Matlock, with which that terrible scene was thus associated.
None. I could pass my life here, and among these mountains I should scarcely regret Switzerland and the Rhine.
Optional, Victor's mind is consumed by the possibility of the creature's return. He might remain in Switzerland and wreak his vengeance on my relatives. This idea pursued me and tormented me at every moment from which I might otherwise have snatched repose and peace.
Optional. I was impatient to arrive at the termination of my journey.
Optional. Victor believes the creature is close, waiting for the moment to reveal himself.
I did not doubt, but that the monster followed me and would discover himself to me when I should have finished, that he might receive his companion.
Optional. I had not sufficient light for my employment, and I remained idle, in a pause of consideration of whether I should leave my labor for the night, or hasten its conclusion by...
Optional. An unremitting attention to it. I had grown restless and nervous. Every moment I feared to meet my persecutor.
Optional. I looked towards its completion with a tremulous and eager hope, which I dared not trust myself to question, but which was intermixed with obscure forebodings of evil that made my...
Optional. Sicken in my bosom.
None.
As I sat, a train of reflection occurred to me, which led me to consider the effects of what I was now doing.
None. 3 years before, I was engaged in the same manner, and had created a fiend whose unparalleled barbarity had desolated my heart and filled it forever with the bitterest remorse.
None. I trembled and my heart failed within me. When, on looking up, I saw by the light of the moon the demon at the casement.
Begone! I do break my promise. Never will I create another like yourself, equal in deformity and wickedness.
None! Slave I before reasoned with you, but you have proved yourself unworthy of my condescension.
Remember that I have power. You believe yourself miserable. But I can make you so wretched that the light of day will be hateful to you.
None shall each man, and I be alone. I had feelings of affection, and they were requited by detestation and scorn. Man! You may hate, but beware!
None. Your hours will pass in dread and misery, and soon the bolt will fall which must ravish from you your happiness forever.
None. Villain, before you sign my death warrant, be sure that you are yourself safe. I burned with rage to pursue the murderer of my peace,
and precipitate him into the ocean.
None.
I had been awake the whole of the preceding night. My nerves were agitated, and my eyes inflamed by watching and misery.
Optional. I had resolved in my own mind that to create another like the fiend I had first made would be an act of the basest and most atrocious selfishness.
Optional.
I must pack up my chemical instruments, and for that purpose I must enter the room which had been the scene of my odious work.
Optional. At one time, the moon, which had before been clear, was suddenly overspread by a thick cloud, and I took advantage of the moment of darkness and cast my basket into the sea.
Find your task is already fulfilled.
I had already been out many hours and felt the torment of a burning thirst, a prelude to my other sufferings.
I might be driven into the wide Atlantic and feel all the tortures of starvation or be swallowed up in the...
Victor Liangada. I constructed another sail with a part of my dress and eagerly steered my course towards the...
The creature, exhausted and desperate, seeks answers from the townspeople.
My good friends, will you be so kind as to tell me the name of this town and inform me where I...
The townspeople are wary of the creature's strange appearance and suspect foul play.
You will know that soon enough. Maybe you are come to a place that will not prove much to your taste, but you will not be consulted as to your quarters, I promise you.
The creature is now trapped, forced to confront the accusations of murder.
Come, sir, you must follow me to Mr. Keerwins's to give an account of...
About half a dozen men came forward, and one being selected by the magistrate, he deposed that he had been out fishing the night before with his son and brother-in-law, Daniel Nugent.
None.
When, about 10 o'clock, they observed a strong northerly blast rising, and they accordingly put in for port.
None.
He walked on first, carrying a part of the fishing tackle, and his companions followed him at some distance.
None.
As he was proceeding along the sands, he struck his foot against something and fell at his length on the ground.
None.
The first part of this deposition did not in the least interest me, but when the mark of the fingers was mentioned, I remembered the murder of my brother and felt myself extremely agitated. My limbs trembled, and a mist came over my eyes, which obliged me to lean on a chair for support.
None. Have my murderous machinations deprived you also, my dearest Henry, of life?
None. 2 I have already destroyed. Other victims await their destiny. But you, Clerval, my friend, my benefactor...
None. Why did I not die? More miserable than man ever was before. Why did I not sink into forgetfulness and rest?
The creature awakens to the reality of his imprisonment.
I believe I am. But if it be all true, if indeed I did not dream, I am sorry that I am still alive to feel this misery and horror.
The peasant woman, indifferent to the creature's suffering, performs her duty with a clear conscience.
Are you better now, sir?
Who could be interested in the fate of a murderer but the hangman who would gain his...
None. I fear that this place is very shocking to you. Can I do anything to make you more comfortable?
None. I thank you. But all that you mention is nothing to me. On the whole earth there is no comfort which I am capable of receiving.
None. I know that the sympathy of a stranger can be but of little relief to one borne down as you are by so strange a misfortune.
None.
But you will, I hope, soon quit this melancholy abode, for doubtless evidence can easily be brought to free you from the criminal charge.
None. But where is he? Why does he not hasten to me? None. What a place is this that you inhabit, my son? None. Alas! Yes, my father. Some destiny of the most horrible kind hangs over me, and I must live to fulfill it. Or surely I should have died on the coffin of Henry.
None. I did not participate in these feelings.
For to me the walls of a dungeon or a palace were alike hateful.
None. I see you, my creator. You are the source of my agony.
None. You must not let despair consume you. We are going home to Geneva.
Victor's mind drifts back to the night he brought the creature to life, the moment that changed everything.
I remembered, shuddering, the mad enthusiasm that hurried me on to the creation of my hideous enemy, and I called to mind the night in which he first...
Victor's grief is overwhelming, and the laudanum offers only temporary respite. I was unable to pursue the train of thought. 1,000 feelings pressed upon me, and I wept.
The creature's voice echoes through the night, a lament for the life he was denied, and the destruction he wrought.
None.
I am not mad, no, the sun and the heavens, who have viewed my operations, can bear witness of my truth.
None. My dearest Victor, what infatuation is this? My dear son, I entreat you never to make such an assertion.
None. I am the assassin of those most innocent victims. They died by my machination.
None.
You have traveled. You have spent several years of your life at Ingolstadt. And I confess to you, my friend, that when I saw you last autumn so unhappy, flying to solitude...
None. From the society of every creature, I could not help supposing that you might regret our connection and believe yourself bound in honor to fulfill the wishes of your parents.
None opposed themselves to your inclinations.
None.
But this is false reasoning. I confess to you, my friend, that I love you, and that in my airy dreams of futurity you have been my constant friend and companion.
None. But it is your happiness I desire, as well as my own, when I declare to you that our marriage would render me eternally miserable, unless it were the dictate of...
None own free choice.
None.
I, who have so disinterested an affection for you, may increase your miseries tenfold by being an obstacle to your wishes.
None.
Victor, be assured that your cousin and playmate has too sincere a love for you not to be made miserable by this supposition.
Such would be my liberty, except that in my Elizabeth I possessed a treasure, alas, balanced by those horrors of remorse and guilt which would pursue me until death. Such as the peasant enjoys when his family have been massacred before his eyes, his cottage burnt, his lands laid waste, and he is turned adrift, homeless, penniless, and alone, but free.
If once he could tain in das model your framework.
I fear, my beloved girl, little happiness remains for us on earth, yet all that I may one day enjoy is centered in you.
But until then, I conjure you, do not mention or allude to it. This I most earnestly entreat, and I know you will comply.
I will confide this tale of misery and terror to you the day after our marriage shall take place. For my sweet cousin, there must be perfect confidence between us.
The weight of the past lingers in the air, but Victor's mind is fixed on the future.
Victor's words are laced with an unspoken dread. I love Elizabeth and look forward to our union with delight.
Victor's words are a promise, but the shadow of the creature looms ever closer, unseen. And on it, I will consecrate myself in life or death to the happiness of my cousin.
None.
Be happy, my dear Victor. There is, I hope, nothing to distress you. And be assured that if a lively joy is not painted in my face, my heart is contented.
None.
Something whispers to me not to depend too much on the prospect that is opened before us. But I will not listen to such a sinister voice.
None. Observe how fast we move along, and how the clouds, which sometimes obscure and sometimes rise above the dome of Mont Blanc, render this scene of beauty still more interesting.
None. Look also at the innumerable fish that are swimming in the clear waters, where we can distinguish every pebble that lies at the bottom. What a divine day!
None. How happy and serene all nature appears.
The day's beauty fades as the night approaches, and Victor's heart is heavy with foreboding. The sun sinks beneath the horizon as we landed, and as I touched the shore I felt those cares and fears revive which soon were to clasp me and cling to me forever.
Victor's mind is a battlefield, his fears rising like the wind. I had been calm during the day, but so soon as night obscured the shapes of objects,
1,000 fears arose in my mind.
The night is no longer just a time of darkness.
What is it that agitates you, my dear Victor? What is it you fear?
None. Why did I not then expire? Why am I here to relate the destruction of the best hope and the purest creature on earth?
None.
You fool! You have destroyed what you could not control!
None. I will not let you take her from me.
Victor's mind is in chaos, unable to grasp the full extent of his loss.
There were women weeping around. I hung over it and joined my sad tears to theirs. All this time, no distinct idea presented itself to my mind, but my thoughts rambled.
Victor's mind is in chaos, unable to grasp the full extent of his loss.
Various subjects reflecting confusedly on my misfortunes and their cause. Elizabeth's voice is a beacon of hope in Victor's darkness.
What have you done, Victor? You must not let this despair consume you. We must find a way to bring them Easter.
I arrived at Geneva. My father and Ernest yet lived, but the former sunk under the tidings that I bore. I see him now, excellent and venerable old man.
Victor's father, once a man of strength and joy, is now a shadow of his former self. His eyes wandered in vacancy, for they had lost their charm and their delight. His Elizabeth, his more than daughter, whom he doted on with all that affection which a man feels.
Victor's father, once a man of strength and joy, in the decline of life, having few affections, clings more earnestly to those that remain.
I know not. I lost sensation, and chains and darkness were the only objects that pressed upon me.
Victor's mind is racing, but he holds firm to his purpose. For they had called me mad, and during many months, as I understood, a solitary cell had been my habitation.
I now related my history briefly, but with firmness and precision, marking the dates with accuracy, and never deviating into invective or exclamation.
None.
I do not doubt that he hovers near the spot which I inhabit, and if he has indeed taken refuge in the Alps, he may be hunted like the chamois and destroyed. None, as a beast of prey.
None. You are mistaken. I will exert myself, and if it is in my power to seize the monster, be assured that he shall suffer punishment proportionate to his crimes. None! That cannot be! But all that I can say will be of little avail.
No.
None!
None. My revenge is of no moment to you. Yet, while I allow it to be a vice, I confess that it is the devouring and only passion of my soul.
None. By the sacred earth on which I kneel, by the shades that wander near me, by the deep and eternal grief that I feel, I swear, and by thee, O night.
None! The spirits that preside over thee, to pursue the demon who caused this misery, until he or I shall perish in mortal conflict.
None! I am satisfied, miserable wretch. You have determined to live, and I am satisfied.
None. Let the cursed and hellish monster drink deep of agony. Let him feel the despair that now torments me.
None. I pursued him, and for many months this has been my task. None. The snows descended on my head, and I saw the print of his huge step on the white plain.
None. A blessed sleep. Often when most miserable, I sank to repose, and my dreams lulled me even to rapture.
Victor's pursuit of the creature has brought him to the farthest reaches of the world.
My reign is not yet over. These words were legible in one of these inscriptions.
Victor is driven by vengeance, though the cold is taking its toll.
Follow me. I seek the everlasting ices of the north, where you will feel the misery of cold and frost, to which I am impassive.
Victor has reached the edge of the world, but his battle is far from over.
Oh, how unlike it was to the blue seasons of the south. Covered with ice, it was...
He had escaped me, and I must commence a destructive and almost endless journey across the mountainous ices of the ocean. He had carried off their store of winter food, and placing it in a sledge, to draw which he had seized on a numerous drove of trained dogs, he had
escaped me, and I must commence a destructive and almost endless journey across the mountainous ices of the ocean, and the same night, to the joy of the horror-struck villagers, had pursued his journey across the sea in a direction that led to no land, and they congested that he had escaped me,
and I must commence a destructive and almost endless journey across the mountainous ices of the ocean.
Immense and rugged mountains of ice often barred up my passage. I cannot guess how many days have passed since then, but I have endured misery which nothing but the eternal sentiment of a just retribution burning within my heart could have
Immense and rugged mountains of ice often barred up my passage.
Send me to support.
I beheld my enemy at no more than a mile distant. My heart bounded within me.
Oh, with what a burning gush did hope revisit my...
None. Oh. When will my guiding spirit, in conducting me to the demon, allow me the rest I so much desire? Or must I die and he yet live?
His soul is as hellish as his form, full of treachery and fiend-like malice.
None!
Swear to Meton that he shall not escape, that you will seek him and satisfy my vengeance in his death.